What if no one ever comes? No helping hand, no miracle, no rescue. Just you and the weight of your own choices. At first, that thought might sound terrifying, but the Stoics would tell you it's the most liberating truth you'll ever hear. Because the day you stop waiting for someone to save you is the day you finally start saving yourself. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to awaken you. For centuries, men and women have sought peace, strength, and clarity in a chaotic world. But the ancient Stoics discovered something that most people still refuse to face. Your freedom begins the moment you take full responsibility for your own mind. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, lived through betrayal, war, and the slow decay of everything he loved. Yet in the darkest nights of his reign, he didn't cry out for rescue, he wrote to himself about discipline, about control, about the battlefield within. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Those words weren't written for the world. They were written for survival, and the same survival code lives within you. Because right now, no matter who you are or what storm you're facing, the truth remains. You cannot fix your life until you fix your mind. You cannot master the world until you master yourself. And to do that, you need something far greater than motivation. You need rules, not gentle reminders, but ruthless principles forged in fire. The kind that crush your excuses, expose your weaknesses, and rebuild you into something unshakable. These are the rules that shaped men who lived through hell and came out stronger. Epictetus, who was born a slave, yet taught kings about freedom. Seneca, who stared death in the face and wrote about serenity. Marcus Aurelius, who held the weight of an empire while losing nearly everyone he loved. They didn't write for comfort. They wrote for endurance, for strength, for clarity when the world falls apart. And that's exactly what you're going to learn today. 8 brutal Stoic laws. Not for the faint-hearted, but for those tired of living in chaos, confusion, and self-deception. These rules aren't meant to make you feel good. They're meant to make you real. Because feeling good doesn't change you. Facing truth does. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with the same timeless armor that protected the Stoics from despair. You'll understand how to stay calm in conflict, focused in failure, and composed in chaos. In a world addicted to comfort and noise, you'll learn what it truly means to be still and powerful. But here's the catch. Rule number 8 will test everything you believe about control, comfort, and pain. Most people reject it because it demands something they're not ready to give up, their excuses. Accept it, and your entire mindset will change forever. So before we dive in, I want to see where you stand. If you're done waiting, done blaming, and done complaining, declare it right now. Drop this in the comments. Discipline over everything. Because this isn't just another motivational talk. This is a transformation, one built on reason, resilience, and ruthless honesty. Welcome to Stoic Sage Academy, where the weak excuses die and your inner philosopher is born. Now let's begin. Number 1. No one is coming to save you. There's a line from Epictetus that pierces through centuries of illusion. While you still breathe, you have power over yourself. He wrote those words not as a philosopher in luxury, but as a man born in chains, a slave who possessed nothing yet discovered the one thing no one could ever take from him, his mind. In ancient Rome, a slave was not a person. He was property, a shadow that existed only to serve. No rights, no name, no future. And yet, from that darkness, Epictetus found a light that would outlive empires. He realized that real freedom has nothing to do with circumstance. It begins when you stop waiting for someone else to change your life. You see, the modern world isn't that different. You might not wear iron around your wrists, but invisible chains still exist. Dependence, self-pity, waiting for a savior. You scroll through advice, hoping someone will hand you clarity, motivation, peace. But Stoicism tears away that illusion with brutal simplicity. No one is coming. Not your friends. Not your mentors. Not the world. You are the rescue, and this isn't despair, it's revelation. It's the moment life strips away the illusion of help so you can finally see the truth. You still have power. Imagine you're at your lowest. The messages you send go unanswered. The help you hoped for never arrives. You feel abandoned. But that's silence. That's not punishment. That's the forge where strength is born. Because when the noise dies and you're left standing alone, that's when you meet the real you. The version that acts without applause, without validation, without rescue. Epictetus understood this. He taught that the first act of true freedom is self-ownership. The courage to say, I may not control the world, but I control myself. Every Stoic after him lived by that same principle. Marcus Aurelius led an empire, yet every night he reminded himself that no one would rule his mind for him. Seneca mentored emperors, but still wrote that the strongest fortress is built within. So write this truth deep within your consciousness. No one is coming. And that is not your curse, it's your liberation. Because the day you stop waiting is the day you start creating. The moment you stop expecting others to fix you, you begin to govern yourself. You become, in the Stoic sense, sovereign, ruled not by chance but by choice. That's where real strength begins, not in being saved, but in realizing you never needed saving at all. Number 2. Master the inner war. Marcus Aurelius ruled the greatest empire on earth. Yet the real empire he struggled to command was not Rome, it was his own mind. He led legions through war, governed a people haunted by plague and famine, and faced betrayal from those he trusted most. But when he retreated to his tent at night, he didn't write about strategy, politics, or conquest. He wrote to himself, to the part of him that could not be seen, only disciplined. Build your life action by action, he said, and be satisfied if each one moves you closer to what is right. Marcus understood something few ever will. The fiercest war is never fought with swords or soldiers. It is fought in silence, within the narrow space between your thoughts and your reactions. And if you lose that war, no victory in the outer world will ever matter. So ask yourself, how often do you wake up already at war? The battle begins the moment you open your eyes. With the flood of worries, the endless tasks, the noise that demands your attention before you've even taken your first breath. You face disappointment, deadlines, and responsibilities you never asked for but cannot escape. That's the external battlefield, unpredictable, uncontrollable, always raging. But Stoicism teaches this: you do not need to control the storm to find peace within it. There is one fortress that no chaos can penetrate unless you invite it, your mind. And like any fortress, it requires walls of discipline, gates of reason, and guards of awareness. When your thoughts scatter, when emotion rules your decisions, when anger or fear dictates your response, the world doesn't have to defeat you. You defeat yourself. The Stoics called this the tragedy of the untrained mind, to appear powerful outwardly while being enslaved inwardly. And if you look around today, that tragedy is everywhere. A single hateful comment online can shatter someone's confidence. A momentary failure can make a person abandon years of work. A stranger's opinion can feel like a personal attack. Why? Because people have built empires in the outer world, but left their inner defenses unguarded. The Stoic, however, lives differently. They understand that the difference between collapse and composure is not in what happens, it's in how they respond. When fortune strikes, they remain grounded. When disaster hits, they remain clear. They never waste strength fighting what cannot be controlled. They focus on what always belongs to them: their interpretation, their response, their posture. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens that disturbs you, but your opinion about it." That's the Stoic's sword, perception. The power to choose meaning in the face of madness. So remember this: you do not conquer life by controlling others or bending reality to your desires. You conquer it by mastering your reactions, by turning your mind into an unshakable fortress that no insult, no loss, no chaos can breach. The world outside will never stop raging, but your inner world can stand still. Imagine a lighthouse amidst a storm. Waves crash, thunder roars, darkness covers the horizon, yet the light never flickers. That is the Stoic mind. That is what it means to be free in a world addicted to noise. To control the inner battlefield is not optional, it is essential. Because if you do not command your mind, the world will command it for you. The storms will define your emotions. The chaos will dictate your choices. And soon, you'll become a reflection of everything you once tried to resist. So train daily. Guard your thoughts. Respond with principle, not impulse. Be calm, not because life is easy, but because you've chosen mastery over madness. Marcus Aurelius fought wars history remembers, but the one that truly defined him was the one no one saw. The quiet war inside. And if you win that war, no defeat in life can ever touch you. Prepare yourself, because what comes next will strike deeper. Seneca's warning in number 3 will challenge everything you've built your comfort on. It will ask you the hardest question of all. Have your comforts made you strong, or quietly made you weak? Number 3. Comfort is the slow poison of the soul. Seneca, one of the wealthiest and most influential men in all of Rome, lived surrounded by everything the world calls success. His estate stretched across the countryside. Servants attended to his every need. He dined from gold and silver. He had fame, power, and a voice that could echo through the Senate halls. And yet, from within that glittering life, Seneca issued one of the most severe warnings in Stoic philosophy. Comfort destroys the human spirit. He wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." That sentence alone reveals the heart of the Stoic struggle, that our pain is rarely born from reality itself, but from our weakness toward it. Comfort makes us fragile, and fragility magnifies suffering. Seneca saw it everywhere. Men who could command armies but could not command themselves. Men who could own wealth yet trembled at the thought of losing it. And he knew that this softness, this addiction to ease, would eventually rot even the strongest soul. That's why he trained against it. Though he had more luxury than almost anyone alive, Seneca deliberately practiced discomfort. He would sleep on hard floors instead of fine linen, eat stale bread instead of delicacies, wear coarse tunics instead of silk. He reminded himself daily, "I can live without these things." He didn't do this for show. He did it for freedom, because every attachment is a chain, and even golden chains are chains all the same. Now fast forward 2,000 years. We live in an age where everything bends toward comfort. One tap brings food. One click brings entertainment. One swipe brings instant distraction. The modern world has perfected the art of avoiding discomfort. But in doing so, it has bred a generation terrified of inconvenience. When ease becomes your normal, the smallest hardship feels like suffering. Hunger becomes panic. Rejection feels like humiliation. Silence feels like loneliness. A delayed reply feels like abandonment. People break today not because life is harder, but because they have become softer. They suffer more in imagination than in reality, because imagination has never met discipline. Think about it. The person who always chooses the easier option, the one who avoids conflict, avoids solitude, avoids effort, may look peaceful on the surface, but that peace is an illusion. When life inevitably strikes, when loss arrives, when illness comes, when betrayal burns, that person shatters. Not because the storm is too strong, but because their foundation is too weak. They built their life like a house of glass, smooth, polished, comfortable. But when the first stone came, it exploded. The Stoic builds differently. To the Stoic, adversity is not punishment, it is practice. Cold water is not misery, it is training. Hunger is not suffering, it is discipline. Solitude is not emptiness, it is self-mastery. Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus all understood that discomfort is the forge of strength. A body never tested remains weak. A mind never challenged remains naive. A soul never disciplined remains dependent. Comfort feels safe until the world changes. And the world always changes. The Stoic refuses to be owned by circumstances. He chooses voluntary hardship, not out of self-torture, but out of preparation. Because the one who has learned to live with less fears nothing. Seneca's wealth could have made him a prisoner of pleasure. Instead, he used it as a reminder of impermanence. His daily practice of discomfort whispered to him, "I can lose all of this and still remain myself." That is the essence of Stoic freedom. to need nothing, yet be grateful for everything. But look around the modern world and you'll see the opposite. Comfort has become religion. People chase convenience like it's salvation, but they forget that comfort doesn't strengthen the spirit, it sedates it. It quiets the hunger that drives growth. It turns warriors into spectators, thinkers into scrollers, and souls into shadows of what they could have been. Seneca's warning echoes louder today than ever. If you worship comfort, you will lose the strength to live. Because comfort slowly kills the very part of you designed to adapt, endure, and overcome. So practice discomfort, not because it's pleasant, but because it's powerful. Skip the indulgence once in a while. Choose effort over ease. Sit in silence instead of endless noise. Let hunger sharpen your gratitude. Let fatigue refine your resilience. Every act of voluntary hardship strengthens your sovereignty over yourself. Every time you embrace discomfort, you remind life, I am not owned by comfort. I am forged by challenge. Comfort feels good, but it is not good for you. It's pleasant, but it is not peace. It's soft, but it leaves you unprepared for the weight of reality. And when that weight comes, as it always does, only the disciplined stand tall. That's why number 3 is not advice. It is a warning. If you avoid discomfort, life will eventually introduce you to it on its own harsher terms. But if you face it willingly, nothing the world throws at you can break you. And what comes next, in number 4, revealed by Epictetus, will not only challenge your comfort, it will dismantle your excuses. It will show you that your limits are not written by fate. They are written by you. Number 3, comfort is the slow poison of the soul. Seneca, one of the wealthiest and most influential men in all of Rome, lived surrounded by everything the world calls success. His estate stretched across the countryside. Servants attended to his every need. He dined from gold and silver. He had fame, power, and a voice that could echo through the Senate halls. And yet, from within that glittering life, Seneca issued one of the most severe warnings in Stoic philosophy. Comfort destroys the human spirit. He wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." That sentence alone reveals the heart of the Stoic struggle, that our pain is rarely born from reality itself, but from our weakness toward it. Comfort makes us fragile, and fragility magnifies suffering. Seneca saw it everywhere. Men who could command armies but could not command themselves. Men who could own wealth yet trembled at the thought of losing it. And he knew that this softness, this addiction to ease, would eventually rot even the strongest soul. That's why he trained against it. Though he had more luxury than almost anyone alive, Seneca deliberately practiced discomfort. He would sleep on hard floors instead of fine linen, eat stale bread instead of delicacies, wear coarse tunics instead of silk. He reminded himself daily, I can live without these things. He didn't do this for show. He did it for freedom, because every attachment is a chain, and even golden chains are chains all the same. Now fast forward 2,000 years. We live in an age where everything bends toward comfort. One tap brings food. One click brings entertainment. One swipe brings instant distraction. The modern world has perfected the art of avoiding discomfort. But in doing so, it has bred a generation terrified of inconvenience. When ease becomes your normal, the smallest hardship feels like suffering. Hunger becomes panic. Rejection feels like humiliation. Silence feels like loneliness. A delayed reply feels like abandonment. People break today not because life is harder, but because they have become softer. They suffer more in imagination than in reality, because imagination has never met discipline. Think about it. The person who always chooses the easier option, the one who avoids conflict, avoids solitude, avoids effort, may look peaceful on the surface, but that peace is an illusion. When life inevitably strikes, when loss arrives, when illness comes, when betrayal burns, that person shatters. Not because the storm is too strong, but because their foundation is too weak. They built their life like a house of glass, smooth, polished, comfortable. But when the first stone came, it exploded. The Stoic builds differently. To the Stoic, adversity is not punishment, it is practice. Cold water is not misery, it is training. Hunger is not suffering, it is discipline. Solitude is not emptiness, it is self-mastery. Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus all understood that discomfort is the forge of strength. A body never tested remains weak. A mind never challenged remains naive. A soul never disciplined remains dependent. Comfort feels safe until the world changes. And the world always changes. The Stoic refuses to be owned by circumstances. He chooses voluntary hardship, not out of self-torture, but out of preparation. Because the one who has learned to live with less fears nothing. Seneca's wealth could have made him a prisoner of pleasure. Instead, he used it as a reminder of impermanence. His daily practice of discomfort whispered to him, "I can lose all of this and still remain myself." That is the essence of Stoic freedom, to need nothing, yet be grateful for everything. But look around the modern world and you'll see the opposite. Comfort has become religion. People chase convenience like it's salvation, but they forget that comfort doesn't strengthen the spirit. It sedates it. It quiets the hunger that drives growth. It turns warriors into spectators, thinkers into scrollers, and souls into shadows of what they could have been. Seneca's warning echoes louder today than ever. If you worship comfort, you will lose the strength to live. Because comfort slowly kills the very part of you designed to adapt, endure, and overcome. So practice discomfort. Not because it's pleasant, but because it's powerful. Skip the indulgence once in a while. Choose effort over ease. Sit in silence instead of endless noise. Let hunger sharpen your gratitude. Let fatigue refine your resilience. Every act of voluntary hardship strengthens your sovereignty over yourself. Every time you embrace discomfort, you remind life, I am not owned by comfort. I am forged by challenge. Comfort feels good, but it is not good for you. It's pleasant, but it is not peace. It's soft, but it leaves you unprepared for the weight of reality. And when that weight comes, as it always does, only the disciplined stand tall. That's why number 3 is not advice. It is a warning. If you avoid discomfort, life will eventually introduce you to it, on its own, harsher terms. But if you face it willingly, nothing the world throws at you can break you. Number 5, you are not special. There's a brutal kind of mercy in realizing this. You are not special. It sounds harsh, almost insulting. But to the Stoics, this was not an attack. It was liberation. It was the cutting away of illusion, the death of ego, and the birth of clarity. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, commander of vast armies, ruler of millions, could have surrounded himself with the comfort of superiority. Yet in the solitude of his tent, he wrote to himself words that would humble even a god. Soon you will have forgotten all things, and all things will have forgotten you. Think about that. The most powerful man of his time, a man who could make or unmake nations, deliberately reminded himself of his insignificance. He stripped himself of the illusion that he mattered more than others. Because Marcus knew the truth, ego is blindness. And the moment you start believing that you stand above the rest, that you are somehow exempt from the natural order of struggle, decay, and death, you lose your grip on wisdom itself. The Stoics never glorified being special. They glorified being real. To them, greatness didn't come from uniqueness. It came from universality. From remembering that you, me, and every human who ever walked this earth share the same raw material. You breathe the same air that sustained Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus. You hunger, you hurt, you hope, just as every man and woman before you did. You are a fragment of a vast human continuum, not an exception to it. And that's why the Stoics saw ego as poison. Because the ego convinces you that your pain is somehow unique, that your struggle is unfair, that your failures are cosmic injustice rather than part of the universal rhythm of existence. The one who believes they are special begins to expect gentleness from life. And life is not gentle. It never has been. The universe owes you nothing. The world is not your servant, your therapist, or your fan club. But here's the paradox. Realizing you are not special doesn't make you insignificant. It makes you free. Think of a person raised in constant praise, told since childhood that they are different, gifted, destined for greatness. They grow up expecting the world to bend for them, and then reality hits, rejection, failure, heartbreak. The illusion collapses, and so do they. They crumble because they built their identity on validation instead of discipline, on applause instead of endurance. The Stoics warned us about this centuries ago. Marcus wrote, "Receive without arrogance, let go without attachment." He meant that the wise man accepts both praise and insult as passing winds. Neither defines him, neither disturbs him, because the one who depends on praise is enslaved by it, and the one who fears obscurity is already lost. Modern culture teaches the opposite. It tells you to believe you are special, that your feelings are sacred, your uniqueness divine. But the truth is this: the more you cling to your specialness, the weaker you become. Because every inconvenience feels like injustice, every rejection feels like humiliation, every failure feels like a personal attack. The world stops being a teacher and becomes your enemy. The Stoic understands that humility is strength, that accepting you are ordinary in a vast, indifferent universe does not diminish you, it grounds you. It returns you to the soil where all real growth begins. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor himself, saw clearly that every triumph fades, every name is forgotten. Alexander the Great and his mule driver are now both dust, he wrote. That wasn't nihilism, it was liberation. If all fame fades, then you are free to act without vanity. If all memory disappears, then you are free to live for virtue, not applause. To be not special is to see reality as it is. It means your failures aren't unique tragedies. They are shared lessons. Your pain isn't divine punishment. It's human experience. Your struggles aren't personal conspiracies. They're the price of existence. And when you understand that, you stop asking, why me? You start asking, what now? Because if you are not special, you are not cursed either. You are not doomed by your past, your flaws, or your misfortunes. You are simply human. And that means you can change, adapt, endure, and rise again. So say this to yourself until it becomes a law in your soul. I am not special. I am responsible. That is the essence of Stoic humility. Responsibility replaces entitlement. Discipline replaces ego. Gratitude replaces pride. You stop measuring yourself by how different you are and start measuring yourself by how steadfast you remain when life tests you. Remember, the Stoics did not seek glory. They sought alignment with reason, with virtue, with reality. To live without illusions is the highest form of strength. And when you finally embrace that, when you stop chasing validation and start mastering yourself, you will no longer need to feel special. You will feel whole. But brace yourself, because what comes next, number 6, will tear even deeper. It will expose the hidden attachments that still hold you back, the quiet comforts that make you weak. It will not flatter you. It will forge you. Number 6. Kill what makes you. Weak Seneca once wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, but because we do not dare that they are difficult." Behind that line lies one of the most unflinching truths of Stoic philosophy. The greatest enemy you'll ever face lives inside you. The Stoics were not soft thinkers. They were warriors of the mind. They didn't romanticize their flaws or justify their vices. They examined them, exposed them, and without hesitation, they cut them out. Because to tolerate weakness is to invite decay. To nurture what makes you fragile is to build your own downfall with your bare hands. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus all understood this. Life is war, but not the kind fought with swords and soldiers. It's a war against your own impulses, against laziness, pride, envy, fear, and self-pity. And every time you let these forces linger, they grow stronger. They whisper excuses. They comfort you into inaction. They become parasites feeding on your potential. The Stoic knew the cure, not negotiation, not self-indulgence, but death. You must kill what makes you weak. Imagine a man who dreams of self-control, yet spends hours scrolling through distractions, feeding his anxiety with noise, comparing himself to others, seeking validation he doesn't need. He says he wants peace, but his actions betray him. He says he wants strength, yet he refuses to train his will. This man's enemy isn't society, nor fate. it's his own comfort. The Stoics would call that delusion, because the mind that indulges weakness becomes its servant. The modern world loves to disguise weakness as self-love. Be kind to yourself, it says, even when kindness becomes a permission slip for procrastination, dependency, and stagnation. The Stoic counters, don't confuse kindness with honesty. Real kindness is helping yourself rise, not letting yourself rot. If honesty reveals habits that weaken you, gossip, idleness, resentment, gluttony, you must destroy them as if they were infections. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now. Killing weakness does not mean hating yourself. It means separating from the parts of you that no longer serve your higher nature. It's the same principle Marcus Aurelius practiced each dawn when he reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength comes from self-mastery, the courage to sacrifice pleasure for discipline, comfort for clarity, and impulse for intention. Weakness is seductive because it's easy. It feels warm, familiar, safe. It tells you to rest a little longer, to complain one more time, to wait until the right moment. But weakness is a liar. Every time you listen to it, your will erodes, your edge dulls, your confidence fades. The Stoic refuses this. He treats every temptation to give up as an opportunity to sharpen his soul. Ask yourself, what inside you keeps you small? Is it fear of rejection? The addiction to comfort? The need to be liked? The anger you nurse like a wounded pet? These things drain you. They disguise themselves as parts of your identity, but they are not you. They are invaders, and the Stoic way demands that you face them head-on, without excuses. Because no one else can kill your weakness for you. No mentor, no friend, no savior. Only you. Epictetus was born into slavery, beaten, mocked, and denied freedom. Yet he rose above his condition because he killed the part of himself that sought pity. Seneca faced exile and betrayal but used his suffering as a forge for strength. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the world, lost children, faced plague, and still reminded himself daily that humility and duty must outweigh comfort. These men faced external storms far greater than ours, yet their greatest victories were internal. To kill what makes you weak is to live deliberately. It is to choose discipline when laziness calls, silence when anger rises, focus when distraction tempts. It's not cruelty. It's clarity. You are not punishing yourself. You are protecting yourself from decay. So write this law upon your mind. If it weakens me, it has no place in me. Repeat it until it becomes instinct. Let it echo every time you reach for comfort instead of courage, every time you justify what you know is holding you back. Because every habit you tolerate becomes a master, and every weakness you feed becomes your captor. The Stoic doesn't seek a life free of struggle. He seeks a life free of submission. He understands that the self must be reforged again and again, through pain, through loss, through discipline. And only when the weak parts die can the strong parts lead. But prepare yourself, because number 7 will go even deeper. It will reveal why the storm outside doesn't matter, and why the real war is always fought and won within. Number 7. Stop chasing peace. Outside yourself, Marcus Aurelius, an emperor surrounded by betrayal, disease, and war, once wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." It's strange, isn't it? The most powerful man in the world, commanding legions, ruling empires, shaping history, found his sanctuary not in marble halls or victories, but in silence within himself. While others searched for calm and luxury, he found it in self-discipline. While others sought escape from chaos, he learned to be still amid it. This is the Stoic paradox. The harder you chase peace in the world, the further you drift from it. Because peace isn't found in the next city, the next achievement, the next person. It's not hiding behind a paycheck, a vacation, or a relationship. Those things can offer moments of ease, but they are illusions. Fragile gifts of fortune, and fortune is fickle. One turn of fate, one betrayal, one loss, and your peace evaporates like mist. Marcus Aurelius knew this. He watched friends die, faced endless political schemes, and still ruled with calm authority. Because he understood that peace built on external things is not peace at all. It's dependency. And dependency is slavery. The Stoic refuses such chains. Imagine a person constantly running, from noise, from people, from responsibility, convinced that if they just find the right place, they'll finally rest. They change cities, mute notifications, buy new things, reinvent their lives over and over. But still they feel restless. Why? Because the noise isn't around them, it's within them. The storm follows wherever they go because they carry it inside their mind. You cannot flee what you refuse to face. The Stoic teaches that peace is not discovered. It is forged. It is an act of creation, not coincidence. You build it by mastering your reactions, by learning to stand still while the world spins. It's the discipline to pause before anger, to endure discomfort without complaint, to stop asking, "When will life calm down?" and start asking, "When will I?" This is why Stoicism is not passive. It's not about retreating into emptiness or pretending nothing hurts. It's about gaining the strength to remain unmoved when life does. Peace is not the absence of pain, it's the presence of power. It's the sovereignty over your own mind. The ability to say, yes, the world is chaotic, but that chaos will not command me. Seneca wrote, "A man is not affected by events, but by the view he takes of them." That's the secret. You can't control the outside world, but you can decide how it enters you. Betrayal, loss, rejection. These are storms that visit everyone. You cannot stop the thunder, but you can stop yourself from shaking. The Stoic doesn't ask for calm seas. He learns to navigate waves. So let this truth settle deep. Peace will never be given to you by the world. No one can hand it to you. Not love, not wealth, not recognition. If you build your peace on things you can lose, your peace will always be fragile. But if you build it on self-command, if your calm depends only on your own reasoned choice, then no storm can take it away. Every day, the world will test this truth. You'll face noise, pressure, injustice. But remember this, the test is not in what happens, but in how you respond. You are always standing at a crossroads. One path leads to reaction, the other to control. Choose control, and the outside world loses its power. Say this to yourself until it becomes armor. I will not seek peace in places I cannot control. Because the moment you stop searching for peace outside yourself, you begin to create it within. And when that inner stillness becomes unshakable, even the universe itself loses its power to disturb you. That is the Stoic's ultimate victory. Not over nations, but over the chaos within. Number 8. You are responsible for everything. Epictetus didn't mince words. He didn't offer platitudes or gentle advice. He said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. And there's a reason for that. Taking full responsibility for your life, not just the things you can control, but even the chaos that seems beyond it, looks insane to those who prefer blame. Most people spend their lives pointing fingers, waiting for someone else to fix what they perceive as unfair. The Stoic sees things differently. The Stoic knows that freedom begins where excuses end. Responsibility isn't punishment. It's not self-blame or guilt. It's ownership. Total uncompromising ownership. Your childhood was painful? That's yours to heal. Your environment was toxic? Yours to navigate. Your mistakes? Yours to confront. Life isn't fair, and the Stoics don't whine about it. They accept the world as it is, and then they act. Because fairness is irrelevant. What matters is power. Power lies not in cursing what happened to you, but in what you do now. Imagine a person whose past was riddled with neglect, betrayal, and disappointment. Most would let those scars dictate their lives. They would allow anger, resentment, and regret to become chains, convincing themselves that someone else owes them relief. The Stoic takes a radically different path. They rise, they endure, they rebuild. Not because it's easy, not because life suddenly favors them, but because they make a decision. This is mine to face, mine to transform. This is the ultimate act of sovereignty. When you take responsibility for everything, even the things that seem unfair, even the storms not of your making, you reclaim control. You stop being a passive passenger in your own life. The moment you decide, I am responsible for everything, you begin to wield the only power that truly matters, the power of action. Consider this. Parents failed you. Mentors abandoned you. The world ignored you. Most would crumble. The Stoic rises because they understand a crucial truth. No one else can rebuild your life for you. And even if they could, it wouldn't make you strong. Strength emerges only when you do the hard work yourself. When you confront your pain, face your fears, and rebuild with your own hands. That is what makes a person unbreakable. This is the most brutal Stoic rule because it leaves no room for excuses. No whining, no blaming, no hoping for rescue. It silences every complaint. There is only one option, rise or remain. And the moment you say aloud, I am responsible for everything, that is my power, something shifts. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are a master of your choices. And if you've made it this far in this journey, recognize what it means. Most people flee when the truth gets uncomfortable, when reflection demands courage. But not you. You stayed. You absorbed it. You are ready. Ready to stop surviving and start living with discipline, clarity, and unshakable strength. Responsibility is not just a rule. It is liberation. It is the foundation upon which every other Stoic principle stands. Take it, own it, and watch as it transforms everything you once thought was broken into the raw material of your freedom. Let's pause and reflect on the journey we've taken. We began with number 1, no one is coming to save you. Epictetus taught that self-reliance is freedom. No mentor, no partner, no savior will arrive to solve your problems. This is not punishment, it's liberation. The moment you accept that, you gain sovereignty over your life. You rise because you choose to, not because someone pushes you. Number 2 showed that the greatest battle is always within. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that before you attempt to conquer the outside world, you must master the inner battlefield. External chaos will always exist, but if your mind is disciplined, your spirit unshakable, no storm can break you. You stand like a lighthouse amid turbulence, firm, immovable, and calm. Number 3 exposed comfort as a silent killer. Seneca warned that indulgence, ease, and convenience rot strength over time. Hardship, discomfort, and deliberate challenge are not punishments. They are the forge of resilience. The Stoic embraces struggle as a teacher, knowing that what doesn't challenge him weakens him if left unchecked. Number 4, revealed that excuses are the chains we forge ourselves. Epictetus taught that suffering is magnified not by circumstance, but by our judgment of it. Every excuse, every justification, every I can't is a link in the chain that binds us. Break the excuses and freedom follows. Keep them and you remain trapped in victimhood. Number 5 stripped away illusions of ego. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that we are not special. Your fears, your losses, your failures, they are human, shared across centuries. Accepting your smallness frees you from entitlement, self-pity, and the fragility of imagined uniqueness. Strength grows not from believing you are exceptional, but from understanding you are accountable. Number 6 demanded that you destroy what makes you weak. Seneca's words remind us that the obstacle is often within: laziness, pride, distraction, fear. To grow, you must cut away the parts of yourself that hold you small. Kill what weakens you, or be doomed to carry dead weight into every battle. Number 7 taught that peace is never found outside. Marcus Aurelius showed that tranquility is built within through discipline, reason, and self-command. Calm cannot be purchased, moved, or borrowed. It must be forged, nurtured, and defended within your own mind. Finally, number 8 gave us the ultimate weapon: radical responsibility. Epictetus taught that every part of your life, your thoughts, your actions, your responses, belongs to you. You are accountable for everything. No one else can rebuild your life. Own it. Act. Rise. That is the foundation of freedom, power, and unshakable strength. 8 rules. 8 truths. 1 purpose. Fix your mind and you fix your life. Now I challenge you. Choose one of these rules and live by it fully this week. Declare it, embody it, and share it. I choose strength. This is more than a phrase. It is a declaration of independence from weakness, excuses, and dependency. This is Stoic Sage Academy, And today, you didn't just watch a video, you made a choice.